Hello students, welcome to the class of English Literature. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is an essay. The title of the essay is The Spectator Club. This essay is written by Richard Steele and it is included in the syllabus of BA Part 1st. Richard Steele was born in Dublin, Ireland in 1672 and he died in 1729. Richard Steele was an Irish writer. He was a soldier and a politician. Educated at the Charterhouse and Merton College, Oxford. He left before taking degree and joined the army in 1694 and he reached to the rank of captain. Appointed gazetteer in 1707, a post he held until 1710. Steele embarked on a hugely successful journalistic career assisted by Addison. Steele owes his chief reputation to his effort as an essayist. The Tatler, which he started in 1709, was the beginning of a new era of periodical writing. So Steele was famous for his periodical writings. He wrote periodicals, the Tatler and the Spectator. The Tatler was followed in 1711 by the Spectator, then by the Guardian in 1713. In both the Tatler and the Spectator, Steele and other writer Joseph Addison, they worked together. The style of Richard Steele is easy and familiar. Antithesis and climax are seldom used in his writings. In 1713, as a staunch Whig, he became a member of Parliament. Steele was knighted and appointed supervisor of Drury Lane Theatre. He continued to publish pamphlets and periodicals and had a success with his sentimental comedy that is entitled The Conscious Lovers in 1722. There is an introduction of the essay which we are going to discuss. The essay The Spectator Club is perhaps Richard Steele's finest achievement. This essay was published in the periodical The Spectator. In this essay, Steele has given an account of the members of the club. They invented an imaginary club, the Spectator Club, and there in this essay there is an account description of the members of that club. These members represent important sections of society. Steele describes 6 of the members of the club, and these members are: first one, Sir Roger D. Coverley, then the student of law, means the lawyer. Third one, Captain Sentry, Sir Andrew Freeport, Will Honeycomb, the clergyman. So these 6 members are described in the essay. Now we will discuss the text of the essay. Richard Steele begins the essay. He writes, "The first of our society is a gentleman of Worcestershire of an ancient descent, a baronet. His name Sir Roger D. Coverley." So we can see the essay begins with introduction of Sir Roger D. Coverley. He is the first member of the Spectator Club. He is a gentleman who belongs to Worcestershire of an ancient descent, and he is baronet, and his name is Sir Roger D. Coverley. His great-grandfather was inventor of that famous country dance which is called after him. His great-grandfather invented a dance, and that dance was named after him. All who know that shire means area, place, are very well acquainted with the parts and merits of Sir Roger. All the people who know that area in which Sir Roger D. Coverley lives, they know very well about the parts and merits of Sir Roger. He is a gentleman that is very singular in his behavior. He is a unique person. But his singularities proceed from his good sense. His uniqueness presents his good sense and are contradiction to the manners of the world. But his uniqueness is contrary, is opposite to the manner of this world. Means he is not in accord with this world. His ideas are different from the other people of the world. Only as he thinks the world is in the wrong. And why he is different or contradicting to the manners of the world? Because he thinks that the world is in the wrong. However, this humor creates him no enemies. But because of this thinking, he is not having any enemies. He thinks that the world is in the wrong. But even then, there is no enemy of Sir Roger de Coverley because of this thinking. The reason behind this is described here, for he does nothing with soreness or obstinacy, because the behavior of Sir Roger de Coverley is sweet. He is not doing any work with bitterness. He is not an obstinate person. And his being unconfined to modes and forms makes him but the readier and more capable to please and oblige all who know him. And all the people who know him, who know Sir Roger de Coverley, they are happy with him, they are obliged to him. When he is in town, he lives in Soho Square. When he lives in town, he lives in Soho Square. Soho Square is lying to the south of Oxford Street, London, and in Steele's day, it was a fashionable residential area. So he was living in Soho Square. It is said he keeps himself a bachelor by reason, and he is a bachelor, and there is a reason behind this. And what is the reason? That he was closed in love by a perverse, beautiful widow of the next county to him, and a widow who was living next county to him deceived Sir Roger de Coverley, and just because of that reason he is bachelor till now. Before this disappointment, Sir Roger was what you call a fine gentleman, and before meeting this beautiful widow, he was a perfect fine gentleman, had often supped with my Lord Rochester and Sir George Atheres, fought a duel upon his first coming to town, and kicked bully Dawson in a public coffee house for calling him youngster. He met with reputed people like Lord Rochester and Sir George Atheres, and when he came to the town first time, he kicked bully Dawson because Dawson called him a youngster in public coffee house. But being ill-used by the above-mentioned widow, he was very serious for a year and a half. And though his temper being naturally jovial, he at last got over it. Before meeting this widow, he was a perfect gentleman, but after this incident, he was very serious for 1 year and a half. Because his temper, his behavior is jovial, he is a happy person, that's why he at last got over this disappointment. But after this, he grew careless of himself, and he never dressed afterwards. He never dressed according to the fashion of time after this incident. He continues to wear a coat and doublet of the same cut that were in fashion at the time of his repulse. When that widow left him, at that time there was a fashion of a coat and doublet, and he is using the same fashionable coat and doublet at present also, which in his merry humours he tells us has been in and out 12 times since he first wore it. And the time when he first wore that coat and doublet, and till now It has come in fashion and come out and gone out of fashion 12 times. But he is still wearing that coat and doublet. It is said Sir Roger grew humble in his desires after he had forgot his cruel beauty, insomuch that it is reported he has frequently offended with beggars and gypsies. But this is looked upon by his friends rather as matter of raillery than truth. He is in his 56th year. He is cheerful, happy, and hearty. Keeps a good house both in town and country. He is having good house both in town, both in city, and in village also. A great lover of mankind. He is a great lover of mankind. But there is such a mirthful cast in his behavior that he is rather beloved than esteemed, means than respected. Instead of respecting, people love him better. His tenants grow rich. His servants look satisfied. Servants are satisfied because he is having good behavior. All the young women profess to love him, and the young men are glad of his company. So the people who are all around him, his servant, his tenants, young women, young men, they all are satisfied and happy with that person. It shows that he is having a good personality. When he comes into a house, he calls the servants by their names and talks all the way upstairs to a visit. When he moves upstairs, he talks to his servants. I must not omit that Sir Roger is a justice of the quorum, that he fills the chair at a quarter session with great abilities. For quarter session means for 3 months in a year, he fills the chair of judge, and he is having great abilities of a judge, and 3 months ago gained universal applause. He got universal praise by explaining a passage in the Game Act, because he explained a passage about the Game Act. That's why he was acknowledged, he was appreciated. So this is the first character of the periodical, the Spectator Club. There are total 6 members. So this one is the first member, and the people who knew about that place, the county of Sir Roger, they knew him very well. Sir Roger was a man of extraordinary nature and had a good sense. He always found fault with the ways of the world, but this unusual nature never made him any enemies because of his pleasant behavior. Sir Roger had a unique capacity to please others. Sir Roger was a bachelor because he was disappointed in the love of a beautiful widow. Before this disappointment, Sir Roger was a normal, happy young man. He moved in society of important persons like Lord Rochester, Sir George Atheres, etc. However, after being ill-used by the widow, he lost all his joviality and interest in social life for more than a year. He was very serious for some time, and gradually his jovial nature returned, and he grew careless about his dress. He wore a coat and jacket of the same cut which was in fashion at the time of his disappointment with that widow. Now Sir Roger is 56 years old, but he is quite hearty, happy. He is having a house in village as well as in town also. He had such a good nature that people love him. He also treats his servants well. He is also the justice of the Quran, and he showed his judicial abilities of the judge. So this is all about the first character of the Spectator Club, that is Sir Roger de Coverley.